just a sort of very brief overview of how it looks at the moment. So pros, I mean, perhaps the biggest one is that it's meant there's been some kind of care where otherwise there would be none for some people in the pandemic period. But I think people have discovered or been reminded of some other advantages. It seems to make services more accessible for some people, particularly for a variety of reasons. They find it harder to travel. It's efficient and time saving, and actually that's particularly perhaps been where it connects staff. So we've found, for instance, it's easy to drop into the crisis team meeting if you're in the early intervention service, or to have 10 minutes with the ward staff, because it makes staff connecting with each other quite a bit more flexible, sometimes saves travel, reduces environmental impact. Some people seem essentially comfortable with it, and sometimes to have found new forms of interaction, new forms of support. And perhaps that's particularly the case with some of the new online support groups that have been set up, either informally or through services, through NHS and voluntary sector services. But some very significant downsides as well. Obviously, digital exclusion, people who can't connect this way, it exacerbates inequalities. It may make it harder for problems to be assessed. It may make reasonable therapeutic relationships harder to form, especially where they don't exist already. Their technology can be a barrier in all sorts of ways, either at getting the right platforms, getting access to them where people don't know how to use them. And I think it's been very obvious that there are huge variations on the provider side in how much both organisations and individual staff are confident enough and willing to engage with these new technologies in providing care, and also that individuals feel very differently about taking this up. It seems to be a very individual thing. Privacy, having enough privacy is very important and not always possible. Confidentiality can raise some different challenges. Wondering what's happened to your data or information can raise some new challenges. And some people seem to experience it as pretty alienating, as intrusive. We're realizing that really people experience it in very varying ways that aren't necessarily to do with any characteristics, but just with how they feel about communicating in these ways.